Hey listeners, welcome to another episode of My Big Fat Pull List. This is going to be a special one because it's something we talked about previously in a current issues. This is going to be an Is It Worth It
Cha-ching!
for Marvel's Dark Ages. I'm excited because I'm the one who read it after, recommending it at the end of that current issues, and we'll see if it actually holds up after 6 issues. We'll find out. Is it worth it?
Cha-ching!
With me, as always, are two of the most handsome gentlemen you can get on 240 pixels.
I am the mysterious Mr. X.
And I am the lovable Dragonus Prime. Yeah,
Ah.
that's from Smurfy.
I see what you did there.
It's all right. We're stealing a lot of things because for the first time ever in our podcast history, the three of us are unattended.
Yes. And only 2 of us have been drinking. We'll let you, the beautiful listener, figure out who the sober one is and who the 2 drunkards are.
And there is a no prize from Marvel waiting for you at the end of this episode.
They are very stingy. So, gentlemen, when I first talked about it, it was a while ago. I want to say 2021.
It was before the turn of the clock and the drop of the ball, yes.
Yes. And originally, this was a pushed back title. This was supposed to be in 2020, if I remember.
Oh, wow.
Mr. X, you told me that when I was first talking about it, correct?
Dark Ages was supposed to have come out. I feel like it was supposed to have been more important than it actually turned out to be. I feel like it was supposed to be a company-wide event that should have taken place. But then guess what? COVID. And
what's that again?
The comic book world changed.
The world changed.
The world, but also comic books changed.
More importantly, comic books changed, correct?
Right, yeah, fuck the world. Comic books changed.
I must not have been paying attention to that episode of Current Issues because I don't remember this at all.
You
were
talked
not
with me about this.
Sure, why not?
Because you were the only other one who had read it at the time. Dr. Impact says, I saw it, but I passed on it. I think the same for Mr. X and Smurfy. I don't know what he was doing in Candyland at the time, but he was not.
We're still getting him down on first grade books, all right?
Yeah, he'll get there.
Dr. Impact was more focused on the death of Doctor Strange because both of these events were released at the same time. They were announced. It's like, hey, we've got Dark Ages. Hey, we've got the death of Doctor Strange. Which one is going to be important? And it turns out neither.
Well, one was technically in canon, and this, the Dark Ages, is its own continuity.
Right.
Earth
Correct.
162432. Who knows? As someone who did not read The Death of Doctor Strange and did read Dark Ages, I can tell you a little bit about it.
And we cannot wait.
Written by Tom Taylor, artist by Eben Coelho, color artist Brian Reber, and letterer VC's Joe Sabino. Dark Ages spans 6 issues. And as we've previously stated, please go back and check out our back issues to find the current issues. I'm sure whoever's going to put this up will put links in there. That is not something I have to do as the show host, so that's great. I'm always appreciative of that.
That would be the responsible thing to do.
Yes, I'm the responsible one of the crew. Yes, that's what I'm known for. Please go back and check it out. I will find the links and forward them to whoever has to. I know the 2 episodes they're on. They're current issues, like I said. I think one's July 2020 and then 2021 end of year. So it's fine. No, I think when we first talked about it, only Dragonus and I have read it. And I think it's stayed that way. I don't think the other 3 of us have picked up an issue.
I feel the whole point around it was the fact, what do we spend our money on?
One of us said, and it might have been Smurfy, that they were waiting for the graphic novel.
I think that was Dr. Impact.
Maybe it was Impact. I don't know. I get the 2 confused.
That's fair. They are very similar. They both have cowboy hats at any given time.
I never remember which one's my brother either, so.
Yeah, it's Smurfy.
I think the thing is that it was built up before, the whole COVID change of how distribution was going to be, as this is the next big event for Marvel, And then it turns out, oh no, this is a separate reality because we have all this other shit going on.
Yeah.
Where Marvel is concerned, all these big events for all of our characters, not just the universe, but Avengers, Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, they were all going through some big things, and Dark Ages just could not be a real event. It had to be to steal a DC term, an Elseworlds type of title.
Almost a what if?
A what if?
And if I'm being honest, though, I almost prefer kind of stories like these be Elseworlds or what ifs, because I think I referenced it back when we originally talked about it, and I'll say that a couple more times. I'm tired of having the checklist at the back of the book being like, if you want to see what Weapon X was doing, or Laura, or Devil Dinosaur, make sure you pick up these 3 one-shots. Where it's here, 6 issues, contains story, done.
And that's all you have to worry about. Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
I think that's the beauty of non-continuity versus continuity.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you don't really have to worry about who's playing in your sandbox. Like, you don't have to be like, I wonder, oh man, do you think we could get Ghost Rider for like a 2-panel like thing in the first issue? No? Okay. Oh God, who could we get then that would work with our book?
How is this going to affect the mutants on Krakoa?
Right. I am always happy when this happens. And also, it hits another one of my main niches, post-apocalyptic.
Oh, yeah.
I do love me. I believe I said I was a post-apocalyptic basic bitch at the time.
Yes, you did.
I remain that, although I was soured a bit, and I will talk about compare and contrast as I'm talking about this. Yeah, this scratches that niche. It's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I enjoy the post-apocalyptic stuff, everything from AOA to hell, even Mad Max and such. And I think they did this, at least the couple issues that I read of this, they really did a good way of making it different, but yet not.
Now, I've read all 6 issues. You, Dragonus, have only read a couple. Mr. X, you've read none.
Nothing. I am here to be sold on this concept because I, too, like you, am a basic bitch when it comes to post-apocalyptic comic book continuity realities. But this one didn't sell it enough in that very first advertisement for me. So I'm like, I can skip it. But we're all here to find out, is it worth it? Cha-ching! Cha-ching!
Now, issue 1 is kind of the setup, and it's told through the eyes of Spider-Man. It's the world.
Spider-Man.
It's always got to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's the most down-to-earth guy there is, right?
The everyman.
Yeah. And it's basically him living a normal life. I think him and Mary Jane are with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and they're having like a kid's date where May Parker and the other one are hanging out. And then something...
Stop me on this one real quick.
Sure.
I haven't read Spider-Man in a few years. Mm-hmm. Is May Parker in current continuity, or is that like a different continuity that's just being used for this miniseries?
Yeah, that's your first clue into, this is not mainstream continuity.
Right. I know I'm like 6 months behind on Spider-Man comics, and even I know that she's not there now.
Okay.
Yeah. Mayday has not been born. So yeah, this is your first clue in an Elseworlds what if type of story.
Right.
It could almost be a prequel to the M2 line.
And any of you listeners out there that want to listen to us go on about an M2 continuity filled storyline episode, leave that in the comments of wherever you're listening to this, whether it's the podcast or the vodcast or wherever. We love some M2.
So they're having a normal day, and then something happens so egregious that it sets off the spider sense of every spider-themed hero that has it on the planet.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And what it is essentially eons ago, there was a being that was created that absorbed black holes and anything that would just cause wanton mass destruction.
As one does.
Mm-hmm. And eventually, after, decades, centuries of doing that, it became corrupted. And it became the Unmaker. So it became essentially a black hole unto itself. It eventually ran up against, I believe, the Living Tribunal and lost. The Living Tribunal beat it, and then he put it in something that is just formed around it, also known as Earth. So this dead robotic life is now the center of the Earth. Something happens where it now awakens, and that's what sets all the spiders off. It also sets off a couple of other things. Moon Girl has been monitoring seismic activity, and she gets all this, and then she rushes off to see Reed Richards. Apocalypse, the technopath, senses a large, powerful presence slowly start to awaken, and he wants to dabble his little fingies in that power for sure. And then come the earthquakes. And I don't mean something that shakes the coffee on your table. I mean building, knock down, drag out, end of the world style earthquakes. As the heroes rush to figure out what they're going to do about the oncoming issue, they're visited by one person, one being, I guess. You wouldn't really call him person. Uatu the Watcher.
Of course.
Because this is what he's been watching for. This has been his job the whole time. Because if the Unmaker awakens, he will destroy Earth and everything else.
So Uatu isn't really only here to make sure he still has a job. He doesn't give a shit about the rest of us.
Yeah, no, he doesn't care who lives and who dies, but he needs to cash that check every week, all right? Uatu has bills. I believe there's a...
Moon bases are not cheap.
Right, and I believe an exact quote of his somewhere in there are, bitches gotta get their dough.
I do remember that, in the first issue,
Yeah, it's
not
obvious.
A character, but I liked the development for it.
Yeah, it was a famous quote. I think it's become his calling card since then. I think that he's now known. So the heroes send a ragtag team to go try and thwart the Unmaker. It's Benjamin Grimm, in case a little physical interaction is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Susan Storm, for protection, because that's what she does. Doctor Strange, because magic never hurt anybody. The Scarlet Witch, and Vision. It does not go well. One person out of that whole group makes it, and it is the Invisible Woman. Doctor Strange is able to open a portal to a universe where there is a constant EMP in order to shut down the robot. However, as he dies, his spell remains open, and this gateway to this EMP universe continually gets larger and larger and larger until eventually the whole world is encompassed and everything shuts down. I'm talking web shooters, suits.
So it sounds like the Marvel Universe got knocked back to the Dark Ages.
Whoa! And you just put some shades on too. Well done, sir.
Wow.
Yeah. V is shown just lying on the ground, unable to live, I guess, anymore. So this is a huge thing. And the end of the first episode is Spider-Man sitting around a campfire, you looking at him, goes, and that was 7 years ago. And we've rebuilt since then. And then the next page, the end page of the first issue, shows Apocalypse and all the tech heroes. And then comes the apocalypse. Ooh! What a first issue. What I like about this book is it's a lot of little moments between characters.
Right.
And that really solidifies the story to me, because all these characters are doing their best. You see X-23 teaming with Captain America to save someone out of a car that's about to be crushed by a building. Or, you see Luke holding up a building while people are trying to escape from it. Like, you see the heroes in action. You see what they're doing. You see that these tremors have unfortunately caused Atlantis to sink, and Namor could do nothing about it.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah, well,
We could put some freaking pants on. That's what he could do about it.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of really interesting things. You see that Wakanda fares better than most civilizations, because Wakanda is better than most civilizations.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. So,
well, I wouldn't be surprised too since a lot of the buildings are probably built out of vibranium, if it absorbed a lot of the shocks from the earthquake.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things I say. From here, we go to the second issue, where more world building happens, which I really appreciate. It kind of gives a couple pages of what happened after, and you see tribes and heroes and villains fighting all of each other because they're afraid, they don't know. And so I think one of the pages shows like the West Coast Avengers taking on like Taskmaster and a couple of assassins, and it ends with like all of them dead. Hawkeye's got a sword in his back. Like, people are feuding, factions are forming. And as this is going along, Professor Xavier, Sue Storm, a lot of the main heroes that we'll come to see are starting to show up in different places and offer a better solution, offer something better.
The Illuminati is the way.
Kind of, in a way, yeah. And eventually what you find out is the world has just become one nation, essentially. And the capital is Wakanda. And each of these main cities has a fairly powerful psychic mutant there, or psychic in general, I guess. And they check in every night. Like if someone needs something, like they have a network that they go through. In the Wakanda nation, you kind of see what the heroes have been up to and who's kind of shown up. Even Doom shows up.
As he should.
As he should. He's helping to try and set things right. He's not there to try and take the throne. Black Panther is the king. Storm is the queen. Like,
okay.
So it's very nice. They've got like the world's best minds there trying to figure out the issue. Europe is not quite as lucky, as Apocalypse has taken reign there.
Oh, crap.
And what's fun is you find out that there's a lot of defenses, but because there are no power, nothing can happen. A lot of nocturnal evils have started to arise. Like vampires are on the rise. Werewolves are on the rise.
Ooh.
Right. And so one of the night defense teams in Wakanda is a combination of, I think, X-23, Elsa Bloodstone, Blade, and a couple others, as they are off to fight a invasion, because sometimes these monsters will show up to attack for supplies or just to kill and eat.
Okay.
So, yeah, a lot of interesting dynamics. And while that's going on, Tony Stark is visited by Captain America, who tells him that there's a better way, a different way. And he shows him to Apocalypse.
Wow.
Right. Apocalypse offers Tony Stark, one of the head geniuses, the opportunity to save the Earth and get the EMP gone. Tony, of course, doesn't trust him because Apocalypse is flanked by a load of vampires and Dracula himself.
Oh, shit.
That's not trustworthy? If that's not trustworthy, man.
Right? Tony puts up a quick stand, but is unfortunately knocked out by Captain America, who you find out is Mystique.
Oh, tricky bitch.
And through Apocalypse's power, they take Tony Stark captive and head back to his European base.
Yeah.
So where's the real Captain?
I guess I'll never know. So we're going to go up to episode 4, listers, and then we're going to kind of stop there, and then I'm going to give my thoughts. Because we're about to jump into issue 3, which is probably one of my favorite issues because it explains a lot. After Mystique takes Stark, you find out why in that first issue splash page, a lot of the heroes seem to be working with Apocalypse. Okay. And one name comes to mind. Gentlemen, who do you think it is?
Howard the Duck.
That's a good one.
That was, damn you, Dragonus, that was my guess. Fine, so if I can't pick Howard the Duck, it was Agatha all along.
Actually, Mr. X, you're right.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm just kidding, you're wrong as shit.
Oh, okay.
The name is Kilgrave, and for those who don't know, he's also known as the Purple Man.
Seriously?
The Purple Man works with Apocalypse, and he has taken over the minds of some of the greatest geniuses, inventors that the world has known. And he's forcing them to work with Apocalypse in order to resurrect the Unmaker.
That damn Scotsman.
Once this is discovered in the next issue, the heroes have to make a plan. And while this is going on, Doom himself is the one who says, like, at this point, enough leaving Apocalypse to his own devices. We have to act. Tony Stark is the world's greatest weapon maker. And every second that he's not here and he's with Apocalypse, he will eventually fall. And he keeps just going, like, as the heroes are talking, he just keeps going, tick, 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 tick. And so the heroes come up with a plan. They're going to send a scout to run into Apocalypse's lair because they know where it is. He's in the Louvre because, of course, he would be. They send Quicksilver to run in, see what's going on, and then run out before anybody can catch up.
That's actually not a bad plan.
Yeah, it's a great plan. And it goes beautifully until he sees what Apocalypse has been using as a source for his battery. Magneto himself.
Oh!
Captured Magneto. He's got him chained and in a device that essentially is what's allowing them to have, quote unquote, electricity. Because he's forcing Magneto's power so harshly, it's creating a field where they can work in.
An electro-like magnetic field thing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because science.
This shocks Pietro because he thought his father was dead. And when he goes to try and free him, of course, security devices go off and he's electrocuted. Not to death, but he's like shocked off it. To which Apocalypse has a plan.
He always has a plan.
He always has a plan.
Yep.
He sends Pietro back under the guise of Kilgrave. And when Pietro gets back, it takes Jean Grey but seconds to shut his mind down and return it to normal. But in that second, Okoye, her neck is snapped.
Ooh.
And Johnny Storm is stabbed through the chest with her spear, causing him to lose the ability to control the fire.
Supernova.
Shit.
Yeah. As Sue Storm puts up a barrier around herself and him as she watches her brother die in her arms.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, this book is not messing around. It's then that the heroes make the plan. They're going, and hell's coming with them. Unfortunately for them, Apocalypse does have one last ace up his sleeve. What looks like a symbiote conversion of Venom and Carnage.
Oh, crap.
And it's gonna hunt down the heroes before they can get to them. While this has been going on, though, Wakanda has been taking in refugees from Europe and wherever else. And they've been taking them on a downed helicarrier. They've been using it as a giant ship.
Okay, that's cool.
Now, I know what you're thinking. How many crew members does it take? What's the supply ratio look like?
Dude, I was thinking exactly that.
Yep.
I know you are. And this is something where I really appreciated them taking just like a couple panels to explain all this. The ship is manned by, of course, Kurt Wagner.
Oh, the incredible Nightcrawler.
Yes. Admiral Nick Fury.
Ooh.
Okay.
The anchor, Colossus.
Yeah.
And the rest of the crew, Multiple Man.
So, pretty much the mutants.
Yes. But
you're welcome.
Was this a ship a mutiny?
Ha
Oh.
like what you did there. But I like the simple explanation of like, we don't have to worry about that many supplies for the crew and like the lodging because it's all literally 5 guys and 1 woman, because you can never depend on the weather unless you have a goddess who controls it on your side. Storm herself is the one who gives the sails the wind they need.
That's cool.
To travel. Because, I mean, remember, this is a helicarrier. Just because it's in the water, it's a heavy bitch.
You know, that's really kind of, like you're saying, nice that they actually took the time to figure that out, make it work perfectly, but yet make it so simple and elegant at the same time.
So the plan is made. They board the ship. They say their goodbyes because they know some of them won't be coming back.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And in what I think this book does very well is a little bit of foreshadowing. They mention a series of maritime villains that they might run across. So they definitely need heroes. They mention the Ghost Raiders, Namor and his new crew, and Marauders.
Ooh.
All right.
Wait, who are the Marauders again?
I'll just spoil it for you. They don't show you because who we do run into is the Ghost Raiders. And what are the Ghost Raiders? I'm sure one of you is about to ask me.
What are the Ghost Raiders?
They're pirates who have sold their soul to Mephisto himself in exchange for power to never end and to always light up the sky. It's essentially Ghost Rider pirates.
Dude, that's kind of cool.
It's pretty fucking badass, actually.
Eat your heart out, Black Pearl.
You're right?
Ooh.
Unfortunately, in the scuffle, a life is lost. They have to hightail it out of that fight because if the Ghost Raiders make it to the shield carrier, the SS shield carrier, or whatever it's called, they will burn it down, plunder it, and kill everyone on there.
Oh,
It's
no.
their MO. Fortunately for the heroes, they're close enough to Harbor that the Guardian of the Harbor is able to smash out the Ghost Raider. The Guardian of the Harbor is Giant Man, who can no longer turn to normal size because his belt doesn't work.
Oh, shoot, I didn't think of that.
Riding Fin Fang fucking Foom.
All right, you know what? That right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you had me. I was like, well, this is interesting. You know, maybe I should pick up the trade paperback. Nope, I'm done. You can stop right there. Is it worth it? I will be buying the trade paperback. Because, damn, I gotta see me some Giant Man riding Fing Fang Boom.
This sounds too wild to not pass up.
Right? As Mr. X said, though, that's the end of issue 4. There's still 2 more to go, but that's where we end.
Wow.
That's where I'm going to leave you, because I want you to wonder what's going to happen in those 2 issues. I want you to wonder who it is that dies in the fight, and what happens. Because now I get to, I guess, give the verdict. Is it
Cha-ching!
worth it?
Cha-ching!
Hell yeah, it's worth it.
I kind of feel like cha-ching! The cha-ching sound needs to be played throughout, because cha-ching! It sounds like it's definitely worth
It
I mean,
is.
honestly, it's only 6 issues. There's no tie-ins that you have to hunt down.
Right.
So if you want to hunt down the individual issues, go for it. It's only 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're also stingy and a miser like me and Scrooge McDuck, you'll wait for the trade paperback to get all 6 issues in one heaping helping. And that is definitely what I'll do, because thank you. You have sold me on this. I must know how Dark Ages ends.
Especially because you know that trade's only going to be like $20-$25 tops.
Yep.
Yeah, if it doesn't come to trade, because sometimes these stories don't. I can't imagine it won't, but if it doesn't, I do recommend still hunting down the book. 6 issues, it wouldn't be that hard to find in back issues.
Yeah.
What I like about this book the most that honestly makes it worth it is, now I'm going to talk about this and Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Ooh.
In Wonder Woman Dead Earth, they have a great premise, a great set of ideas, and they fail to deliver on those ideas on almost every level to me. It's very heavy on tell, don't show. This book, like I said earlier, this book has like a lot of little moments that are the show, don't tell. You don't see the heroes come up with their steampunky new tech, because I don't need to know that. If you've got Tony Stark, Doctor Doom, Reed Richards, you got it. You're going to figure it out. Right?
They've got a few doctorates between all of them.
But I do get to see Mayday grown up a bit more. I do get to see Tea Time with Uncle Johnny and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones as all the kids get together and have a tea with their stuffed animals. I get to see
adorable.
Storm coming home and seeing Black Panther and seeing their kid. And then again, them explaining how the ship works. Like, I get so many little moments that flush out this story.
Yeah.
Like, it's 6 issues. Honestly, they could probably cut this down to 4 if they really wanted to just bare bones this. And I'm so glad they didn't.
Well, I mean, you told us only 4 issues already, and what you have told us is already a chunk full of stuff.
Yep.
And I even left things out, too. I mean,
wow.
And the art is terrific, too, by the way. I'm just going to say that out the gate. I couldn't recommend this book enough if it comes to trade. If it's $20, you would be a fool not to pick it up if you don't love a solid post-apocalyptic story with apocalypse in it. A lot of the characters you know and love are here. A lot of it makes sense. It's not like, why is this person acting out of, this is weird, they wouldn't really do, you know what I mean? It's none of that.
Right.
Like I felt Wonder Woman Dead Earth did. There's no, well, wait a minute. If the U.S. launched a series of nukes, why are only Superman and Wonder Woman stopping the nukes? Here's the Nightcrawler, Fury, Colossus, Multiple Man. They're on a ship. They're doing shit. You know, here's the rest of the world. They're here. Here's here. Like, it shows you the world. It builds a world in 6 issues that I love. I want more of the Dark Ages. I want to know.
They also got a nice little out, too. If someone does act out a character, they can just be like, oh, I guess it was Kilgrave.
Right, because that was a good reveal.
That damn purple man.
And Apocalypse just looks at Tony Stark, who's basically telling him no, and he goes, Kilgrave, take his mind. And you're just like, oh, shit. Like, that's how it happens. Because I don't want to say who the heroes are that he's converted, but you get the idea at the end of issue 1. And then there's others that you didn't see. It's so good. It's so much fun with a very good sense of dread. I think I told you, 4 deaths. Like there's a casualty just about every issue in a way. The first issue has the most, obviously, with the world itself falling into disarray.
Right.
Millions dying. Obviously not on, but like, so yeah, there are stakes, and like any one of these heroes could die, and there's a couple of fan favorites who do. So it doesn't hold that back, and I appreciate that, which is something, again, you can't do in canon.
Right. You can't do in canon, no, but when you don't have to worry about canon, anything is possible. All bets are off. No one's safe. And prepare to be amazed. So it sounds to me like Pistol Danger is saying, yes, Dark Ages is worth it.
So, Mr. X, so we know, I just went online and looked around while we were talking, and it looks like the graphic novel comes out August 23rd.
Hell yes.
For $17.99.
Oh my God. Pick it up, listers.
It's totally worth it.
Yeah, especially for that price.
Honestly, I'll probably pick it up for that price as well. I also prefer trades to singles. I just really like the story, and I didn't want to risk it not coming to trades because it was
they look great on the shelf.
Yeah. And you get extra artwork, which is something I've talked about trades getting too. Like, all the alternate covers are generally in the back. But
so essentially, if you love Marvel, if you love your Marvel characters, and you love a story that takes place out of continuity where the shit hits the fan, pick up Dark Ages. Cha-ching! Because it's totally worth it. Cha-ching!
Cha-ching! Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I really enjoyed talking about it because it's just so fun. Like, thinking about it, I'm smiling. But, like, also, like, I'm not going to lie, an onion was cut as Sue Storm is there watching her brother turn to ash in front of her.
Yeah,
all the while, she's got to
powerful.
focus on keeping a bubble around herself and a bubble around them so that he doesn't blow up Wakanda.
Yeah, I can imagine that was kind of a tear-jerking moment.
Yeah, there's a few moments, and it definitely sets room for sequel territory if they ever should go in it. And again, like I said, I do hope they do.
Yeah, I mean, just judging from the 4 issues you talked about, it sounds like a world that would be fun to play around in and watch around a few times.
Absolutely.
So, listeners, I leave it to you. If you read Dark Ages, did you think it was worth it? If you didn't, are you going to pick it up? Let us know. Head on over to all our social medias: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Let us know, because to me, it is worth it. Just like all of you. You're all worth it to me.
We love you, listeners.
We literally couldn't do this without you. I guess we could do it without you, but it'd just be like 5 guys shouting into a cave that just echoes back, and that'd be sad.
Old men yell at clouds.
Yeah, that'd be us. So until next time, I've been the host with the most, Pistol Danger.
I've been the guy in the dark, Mr. X.
And I'm going to be the guy spending $18 in August, Dragonus Prime.
And we'll catch you in the funny pages. What he means is you and everyone you know should subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on every app possible.